Welcome back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. Yet again, we've got Tim Kirby, and also, you may know him, Drago Bosnic. Everyone, I just want to get this out of the way. This is a comedy show. Nothing we say here has anything to do with reality. Just want to make sure everybody here knows that. If you're new here, hi, welcome. Nice to have you. Check out some of the older videos when you're done with this one. All right, because I speak to Drago every day, I'm going to start with you, Tim. Tim, 3-year anniversary of the SMO. How are you feeling?
Yeah. Oh, me personally, well, I don't know. I didn't have to fight on the front, although I'm eligible for the draft. So I guess I should be feeling pretty lucky because my draft number didn't come up and doesn't look like it's going to. So.
Realistically speaking, though, do you think, because you're, how can I say, well experienced like myself, we're of the same age more or less. So I was gonna say, like, how likely do you think it is that people of your age would actually get mobilized, considering what, like, you know, the propaganda of mobilization versus like what's actually happening?
When they actually did recall something like 300,000 guys into service who had already served, everyone's like, Tim, you got to get out of Russia, dude. They're going to draft you. I'm like, well, you know, if they take all the people with a foreign accent who have kids and their knees are completely blown out, and according to the draft board, I have a lazy eye. I don't see it, but the military is convinced I have lazy eye. So if they're gonna put me on the front line, that means we're in the apocalyptic war anyways. So I kind of don't care. I
think we are in the apocalyptic war. It's just like turned up to 3 instead of 12. So, like, you know, we're still slow cooking, you know, for the time being.
Yeah. So I don't think basically I think the sort of threat of being drafted is a much more against your will is a much more of a reality of the other side of this war, not so much the Russian side. But you asked kind of how, like, maybe how Russia is doing, or maybe how I'm doing as a person who works in the media. Burnt out, man. I think we're already in the 3rd year of the war. And even before this, the number one news topic since 2014 has been Ukraine. So we're already at over a decade of essentially having the same number one news topic. And of course, when the war happened, it's been amplified. So I do think that there's a little bit of a somewhat psychological fatigue. It's sort of like, how much can I discuss the war? You know, it's important, and especially when you can do so in English and spread the truth to the world. But even as like truth spreading, myth busting, sometimes you can get burnt out after years and years and years and years and years.
Where is this? Here we go. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now. 2.5 maybe on YouTube, and a little bit longer since I came and visited and met you in person and whatnot. And I got burnt out like once or twice. So I can imagine how it is for you, who was doing this before, as you mentioned, the SMO started. Just Hold on one second. Hold on a second, Tim. I just want to get Drago's take on what you just said, and also feedback on the whole 3 years of propaganda, which actually is like 10, 12 years of, you know, warfare of the mind. Drago?
Yeah, I think Tim is a draft dodger, and I think Russia is losing, man.
Yeah,
hey,
it's obvious.
I thought I had it over here. Where is my?
He's obviously an American spy who's a draft dodger. That's why Putin personally signed his nationality. You know,
I read it on. I read it on CNN. There's no way it's not true, man.
Well, look, that's my army ticket, Private Kirby. I don't think I should show the inside of it on camera, but I have it right here just in case.
So you have actual military papers? Papers, please.
Paper, please, but I don't think I should show them on camera. I don't think there's anything that's secret in here, but yeah, except for the lazy eye. That's in there somewhere. That's great.
Yeah, so no, seriously speaking, Drago, other than the fact that Tim is a draft dodger and we're all subdued by Russian propaganda, what do you have to say about 3 years of the info war, and how people who've been watching this develop are still about a year and a half behind with their narratives, including, you know, the big talking heads?
Yeah, I mean, of course, they need the official narrative, which of course is outdated completely, or if it ever was true, they needed to push the story of Russia losing and Ukraine, the freedom and democracy and the beacon of of the free world winning and everything else. As for being burned out, I think it's a logical consequence of everything we've been doing in the last at least 3 years. For me, it's like 7 or 8. It's even longer for Tim. So people who have been following all this and people who have been professionally involved in covering all this, it's logical. It's going to affect them in such a way. So I'm not surprised at all. And I mean, we can see that even with regular people. Regular people who are not as involved as we are sick and tired of all this. Which, of course, I mean, it's as I said, it's just a logical consequence of everything.
Yeah. Tim, by the way, you're kind of new to this whole three-way thing that we're doing here recently.
I'm very new to three-ways with guys, my friend, so don't have a lot of experience in that regard, but yeah.
Don't lie, you've been on crosstalk before.
That's a four-way. That's even more intense.
Yeah, but that's
actually
true.
no.
In any
I've
case,
never been on crosstalk. I've never been on crosstalk once,
real?
Despite someone who has done a lot of things for RT. I guess I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe Peter Lavelle doesn't like me personally. He knows exactly who I am. I've spoken to him numerous times. Never invited me once. Maybe it's my
he doesn't know who I am, but I know what I know. And that joke was well placed. That's all I'm going to say for the record. Now we're going to go to this scene with both of you and the TV, and we're going to do some Russian propaganda, this time anti-Semitic Russian propaganda. Putin, first Soviet government, was mostly Jewish. People have no idea how hyper-violent the Bolshevik Revolution was, by Jack Pisobo. You guys want to comment on this Russian propaganda?
He did say that, and he said it numerous times. I believe one of the more older quotes is he said that 85% of the Russian revolutionaries, the people who are more like important, weren't Russian ethnically. That would include people from the Baltics, but the hint was more towards the Jews, yeah. But also the Baltic countries. Oh, no, you're gone. Where are you? No.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here.
I'm
okay,
here. I'm just changing scenes. I thought you two were going to debate and discuss that.
So I'm just going to say,
Drago is being too polite. He still thinks
he has definitely said something like this in the past. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, that was a screenshot of, I think, RIA Novosti or something. Drago, you have to learn when you're here with me. You can jump in. It's like be less polite than if you were on crosstalk.
No, I know. It's just a damn lag, and and I don't want to interrupt anyone because I want everyone to be heard. Later on the recording. It's just a delay. The delay sometimes screws up the things. I just wanted to say,
start a new show. Call it Interrupted.
Putin is obviously anti-Semitic. That's the only explanation for this quote, because it's not true. Most of the Bolsheviks were ethnic Russians. That's it. I mean, jokes aside, in all seriousness, what just Tim said, a lot of the people in the October Revolution were, well, I'm not going to say vehemently, but let's say very anti-Russian. Because they saw the Russian Empire as as an occupying power, and they wanted to make sure it's destroyed. And this, of course, included a lot of people from the Baltic states, as Tim said, from the Jewish intelligentsia, and also some Poles, if I'm not mistaken, some Ukrainians, and so on.
And Georgians, all right, what a perfect segue. We're going to talk about the new Bolsheviks here in Serbia, pretending to be...
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Hillary Clinton. Never mind.
No, there's newer ones than that. And the bots online a bit. We'll cover that as well. Bots online have been insinuous, I think is the word, like unrelenting, with their there was 1 million people at the protests in Serbia narrative. So I come back with... online comments, I'm saying. I come back with, don't be anti-Semitic. There were 6 million at the protests. Anybody who says anything less is just anti-Semitic. And everybody will know about the 6 million number and the history of the 6 million number. If you know, you know. If you don't, then have a look at my Telegram page and get informed. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that, right, guys?
That's one counter argument you could have used, and that's the one you went with. All right,
man, because you can't. Man, Mossad confirmed it. Mossad confirmed 1 million. So, like, if you say less than 6 million, you're just anti-Semitic, man. It's simple. I'm pretty sure my joke got to where it needed to go. In any case, we'll discuss that maybe some other time.
Dude, is pretty much every Serbian person that I know or have heard of has become extremely disappointed with the way Russia has covered any sort of protests in Serbia, and I'd like to explain why. I think it's again because everyone is so caught up with the war here. Wait. You're
mansplaining for Russia now, and they're not even paying you, and they're not even paying you.
No. Sorry, man, if I was some sort of info agent, I'd be. I wouldn't be in this shitty box of wood that I'm in right now.
Listen, you can make all the excuses for Russia's mishandling of what's happening in Serbia in the news sphere, but the only reason that this is happening is because the Russian general consciousness, not only the people working in the media sphere, is totally ignorant or oblivious, whichever word you want to choose, to what happened and why it happened and how it happened to Serbia first in the 90s, and how that was a dry run for everything that happened since, including what's happening in Ukraine. Drago, you want to take it and explain it to the Russians and the media sphere, and then Tim can send this video to all of RT, like RT email at all send. you know.
Well, I mean,
Drago, take it away.
The simplest way to explain all that is, just to ask people, don't they see the, very coincidental...
Sorry, Drago, is to be like George and be like, watch the old videos. Watch every one of the old videos where we already discussed it for the last 3 years.
No, sorry, take it away. If you argue with some Russian guy who's some weird conspiracy theorist, he'll be like, read my 400-page book and then come back to me. How about I just never speak to you again? That's the easier option. Sorry, but I've had that happen to me so many times in real life.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, of course. But what I wanted to say is, like, people can just look at the protests that are happening simultaneously in different countries. I don't know, half a dozen or even more at this point. If you think it's a coincidence, well, I mean, yeah, continue believing, the official narrative. I'm not saying, the protesters all paid, and they are the agents of the West or whatever. It's just that they've been co-opted into thinking that they are helping, their country or whatever, and that it's the right thing to do. And of course it's not, because the so-called student professor councils that are leading the protests are people who are trying to take over power politically, and they've stated it. I mean, I'm not talking out of my ass, as they say. You can find, information on their requests regarding the government.
Like the new today. You might have missed it. I don't think I sent it to you, but I sent it in chat. Their most recent protests, because their most recent demand. I was going to say request, but it's demand. Because their slogan is, until all our demands are met, okay? And they keep coming out with new demands. The first demand was that, 5 demands, and then those were fulfilled, and then they had some, nebulous demands, and then those were fulfilled. And now their new demand is a transitional government, in case you missed it, Drago. By the way,
the nebulous demands are a key part of this. They're like,
hold on.
We won't go away until we become free, or some bullshit that's immeasurable. Yeah,
basically.
That's exactly
color.
it.
Color Revolution number 101. But I just want to put on the record, it is officially the 8th of the 4th of 2025 as we record this, because I'm not sure when it'll go up and how many other airplanes will run over students in the meantime. We've got more memes coming. Stay tuned. This is a comedy show.
I was just about to mention the airplane thing. So what they wanted to do, for those who don't know, they wanted to block the freaking runway.
Wait. First of all, don't spew misinformation unless you've checked what you're saying. Second of all, no, I'm serious because you're wrong. Second of all, we have memes, so when we get the memes loaded, then we'll discuss that. In the meantime, I want to continue thanking Tim and welcoming him on this. I got to find a new name for it, but like this multicast or something.
Multicast, okay.
Much better than three-way. Welcome to this multicast, I guess. And the point is that Drago and I have this tradition where he like writes these jokes for this online information portal called Infobricks, and they're sourced and cited and stuff like that. And then we use his jokes as his news articles basically as prompts for jokes during our not so weekly comedy update reports on the news. So over the last 2-3 recordings, we've had like 15 articles maybe, and we managed to get through 4 of them. So if we can do like 2 articles during this recording, that'll be excellent. You know what I mean? Maybe 3. We'll aim for 3, and some memes. And also, I want to ask you, how are you doing with time? Because it's like whatever time it is now here, and I know what time it is now there.
I don't know. I would say I got like another half hour before I'd like to ideally go to sleep. There's plenty of fun stuff on the computer tomorrow morning.
All right. So you're going to be here with us for only this recording, and we might. Drago, are you good for another recording after this?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. All right. So let's get to these articles before we get to the memes. Oh, not this. Sorry. Why did I do that? This. No, not this. One-man show, people. There we go. NATO effectively admitted strategic defeat just ahead of the SMO's 3rd anniversary. This is an older article, as everything is here on The Working Brother, but it doesn't change the fact that it's relevant and or predictive in some cases of what's actually going to happen. There are 2-year-old videos here that are also current and relative now, like the whole George playlist. Go watch it. Link here. Anyway, Drago, you want to tell us what you wrote about here about Mr. Underwear commercial guy?
I'm not going to go into too much detail, for people who want to know the details, they can read the article, but I just want to mention one thing. So this was like the 3rd anniversary of the SMO, and I quoted all the, European and NATO leaders who were saying that Russia is done. They have like 3 days worth of fuel and ammo and stuff like that. And then I quoted Mark Rutte, the current Secretary General of NATO, who said, and I quote, Russia produces 3 times more in terms of all weapon systems, I think, besides aircraft, than the entire NATO from Los Angeles to Ankara. That was his, statement. So
from
that's
Los
a far
Angeles
cry
to
from
Ankara,
what he was saying. That's a far cry from what he was saying, what they were saying 3 years ago when Russia was, constantly losing forward, obviously, but losing.
Tim, your take? Any comment? 3 years
I don't know. I just like to say that, like, I think with EU politicians, it's more a matter of just saying what needs to be said to sort of keep in their position. I think, to be honest, the majority of them, just some of the people like your von der Leyens, I think they live in the feels world and they just say what they feel. I think a lot of the EU politicians, they just say what they need to say just to get by. Like, there is no, like, they're lying or telling the truth. There's just got to maintain that status quo for that salary. I think that's kind of it, 2 + 2 = 5. Sure, why not? Who cares?
Feels world. I like that. Feels world.
But yeah, no,
That's a good
because
one.
she speaks very convincingly, but insane. Like when she said that about like the Russians taking the chips out of the washing machine. See, if she was someone who knew they were lying just to make money, they would say something more, I don't know, abstract. They'd be like, you know what? They're stealing sugar from the pantries of these Ukrainian homes because they have barely enough food to feed their army. Something that's plausible. That's full, like, I'm a believing jackass when you say you take the chips out of washing machines to make some sort of weapon systems. Like, that's amazing, because it also shows that a person of that high of a rank in society doesn't know how even basic technology works. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about. You're obviously a Russian propagandist, and you don't understand the European logic of 360-degree turns.
I see. Well, I don't know, man. I want to become a better Russian propagandist, because some of them actually lost like villas in Italy when the war started. Where's my fucking villa?
Who lost villas in Italy?
Well, yeah. Well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but certain prominent figures within the Russian media who are very patriotic lost a lot of nice real estate in Europe due to the war. Except me.
What can I say? Like, share, subscribe for more comedy. Nothing we say here has anything to do with reality.
The dirty insides of Russia, whether they're good, bad, or the other, man. I keep it real.
That's why you're Tim Hardcore, huh? Like, is that the original meaning of hardcore? Like the punk metal band?
Oh, no, the original meaning was I wanted to have, because I realized that I'm too retarded and I mix too much serious with ridiculous. Like, I like a meme where they're going to be like Zelensky transforms into a pig and then falls in a pile of poop. But I also want to do serious geopolitical analysis on the same channel. So I was like, Tim, you can't do that. You have to make a hardcore channel and then like a silly jokes channel. And then after like 3 weeks, I was like, fuck it. It's poop joke time. Bring on the feces.
You know, I wanted to have a real channel, and then like one of my videos got taken down, and some of the topics became a little too hard. So now I just make comedy shows and bring on stand-up comedians who sit down often.
Yeah. And now that I've basically lost everyone who ever donated money to me, and my channel is now a complete failure, now it's going to be even more. It's just going to be memes and sharing stuff from like you and Joaquin. It'll be like Joaquin 2.0.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And,
he does great work.
And don't worry about it, man. Everybody has some ups and downs, and I'm sure that wherever this has led you, it will lead you somewhere better. In any case,
it's going to lead me to people who like to use Boosty and give away money.
What? What'd you say? Sorry?
It's got to lead me to somewhere where I meet people who don't mind giving away a lot of money via Boosty.
Maybe they'll actually give you paychecks to your account. In any case,
that'd be even better.
I wanted to get your two guys' take on the fact that some people perceive this as a fight, you know, that whole vampire ball thing. Some people perceive this war and this era that we're living in as like a religious slash, let's say, ethical slash mystical war of good versus evil, and that Russia is on the side of God and that the others are on the side of Satanists, not because they have Satanists among them, not because they actually have occult symbology and stuff like that, or because they're wannabe Nazis with that what's that sun, the black sun, and all
the
that.
Black Sun, yeah.
Not to mention what's going on in Europe and the rights that they're fighting for. The right to have abortions past birth, and the right to all this other kind of stuff. How do you feel about the being on the quote-unquote good/holy side versus the quote-unquote satanic world that we're living in now?
Oh, dude, I know you prefer more joke answers, but unfortunately my humor
I don't.
is failing me, because I have to answer this question. Pardon?
I said whatever we say here is a joke. Now you can deliver the joke you can deliver it in a very serious way.
One thing that I try not to do is to put my head up my ass. That was one thing my father instilled in me. He was like, you've got to pull your head out of your ass. That's a very important thing to do in life. And I don't want to fall into that trap of being like, yeah, I'm part of the like holy good guys. Look at me, I'm a good person. It become like a. Do you remember the Saturday Night Live skit, The Church Lady?
Time out. Before Saturday Night Live, I'm not saying that I'm thinking that you or I or we are on the good side just because we so happen to be on the good side. But objectively speaking, the reason that Move to Russia, link in description and link here, exists is because people want to move from the evil satanic West into the not satanic East/Russia. Am I wrong? You know what I mean?
I don't know, dude. Like, if you listen to like Alex Jones, he does a lot of rants about everything is just he's surrounded by pure Satanism and all that stuff. And I mean, you could kind of see that. Well, put it this way: there has been the P. Diddy scandal, and there's been Epstein Island, and you don't really find a Wang Yi Island or a Putin Island, or something. Although then again, a Wang Yi Island might exist, but I don't think it has to do with the foreign minister of China.
Well, today we'll release the Epstein list day again, but is the part you guys can't see because you're covering it.
Yeah,
but
well, did they partially release that?
Sure, buddy. They released it, but that was the JFK files that they all tied to that aircraft carrier.
Oh, and by the way, the JFK. Hold on, before those files were released, there were certain people that the Russians. Putin actually said the CIA did it. He hinted at that a few years ago when he was angry at America. He just kind of let that out. So those papers seem to confirm that, but it also confirms that a certain religious ethnic group was involved. So that's another thing.
What you're talking about.
Trump is owned by Israel completely, 100% lock, stock, and barrel. Releases the JFK files that blame Israel for partially being involved in killing Kennedy. I don't know about blaming it because it was all censored, but what was chosen to be censored was pretty fucking telling. It's like we'll censor just where it says Israel, and people will figure it out. Yeah. So again, if Trump is just worshiping Israel,
you can say whatever you want whenever you want. Drago, you can say whatever you want whenever you want, Drago.
Well, maybe Drago's just having a good time, man. Sometimes it's the time to chill out and listen.
Yeah, I'm definitely having a great time with you two guys.
Yeah.
So join in. What's your take on Trump's how should I say, opinion of aircraft carriers? My theory is he's going up against the Houthis to end the Iranians, whichever or he's gonna choose, and he's gonna bang his head up against the wall in the form of an aircraft carrier getting sunk by a Houthi Russian Iranian missile. And then he's going to go to his general, see, I told you, and then he's going to pull back, and then he's going to pull back his army and actually focus on the US of A, while Israel gets some interior design from Iran.
Well, here, let me interrupt Drago just for a second, but there's one thing I do know is that generally...
Drago, stop talking. He can't get a word in. Stop talking, Drago.
Fine.
No. Please.
Continue. It's a joke, man.
That was a joke, of course.
You talk.
No, it was a joke. What were you saying? What the hell, man?
The service life of most international freight cargo liners or cruise ships also is about 25 years. So if they send a 25-year-old aircraft carrier towards the Houthis, that might prove your theory correct.
That is a very good point. And I think one of the two that are going there, because I think there's two in theater, as they say, because it's a theater of war. Just like the drama students were making all these theatrics in the streets. Yeah. It was the theater of protests. This is a theater of war. Also, weaponizing protests and all that. Anyway, I sometimes connect too many dots.
You can start a minute ago.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, sinking aircraft carriers, but not the permanent ones. What? Sorry, I missed it. Well, what'd you say?
I said the way the Alex Jones, you got to connect the dots. You've got to see. I love people who are ridiculously intense, and Alex Jones has that. Ric Flair is another person who's insanely intense. I appreciate that because I sort of have that maybe happening in my head, but I have no ability to express it. Whereas like other people, they can just flip the fuck out, but I can't. I was just sort of programmed as a child not to do that, but I want to. I want to just do like some sort of podcast where I just flip the full fucking table over and just storm out.
Maybe
but
this I can't. Maybe this is what you need. Maybe like your new rebranding should be from Tim Hardcore to like Tim Uncut or Tim Unfiltered.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Be more fun if I did a program that was more ridiculous. I think that is something that kind of because the stuff I do in Russian, like I'll be honest, a lot of my people who are sort of with me in this project, they're always angry at me because they're like, Tim, we need more emotion from you. I'm like, I don't know, you're kind of trying to milk a stone here. It's like, wow, this building, because usually foreign person in country videos like,
so time out.
Blew my fucking mind. Oh, I can't do that. Like, I can't say like, I'll be like, wow, that's a really fucking impressive building, and it's impressive for reasons A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like, I can't just orgasm because of the boozy dumplings they have in the Altai region.
All I'm hearing is they want you to be more like Lancaster. In any case, we'll just leave it at that.
Are you trying to make like bad waves? I've never met Patrick Lancaster.
I've never met him either. I've never met him either. I don't know him either. I have nothing against him either.
I don't know you. I can't judge you. He's a different person. He's not me. I'm not going to judge anybody.
Patrick, I'd love to get in touch. We tried to set it up before. You refused. You didn't refuse outright, but you ignored the request. Let's put it that way. If you're still around, leave a comment.
From weird people.
What?
Maybe he gets a lot of requests from weird people.
The one I sent was from the one I sent was from a verified person, and if you want, we could talk about it offline. I don't think everybody needs to know about the dirty laundry of the Russian infosphere. But in any case, the point is,
I wish him the best, and I don't want to start any new
don't make me mute you. Don't make me mute you like I just did. No, you're not muted anymore. Don't pretend.
Oh, darn it!
Because I have to mute you and Drago simultaneously. But the point is, no, seriously, about this Patrick thing. Like, if you're trying to tell me that you can't see Patrick is doing exactly what you described, which is like, oh my God, wow, oh my God, what's happening here? You know what I mean? When there's sometimes no reason for it. Okay, then I don't know what to tell you. But I have no, narratives to cover and no mouths to feed because like nobody pays me, including the Russians or the Serbs or the Americans or anybody in between. And I have no censor, so I can tell you how I feel about things. So let me tell you that that drone video that we saw where he was attacked by a drone, that drone hit a wire. Go watch the video again. If you have any comments, leave them below. Also, Patrick, if you do see this, hi, welcome. Leave a comment, drop me a line in chat on Telegram, and then come on, let's talk about 101 things, and then we'll see who sits where and what is actually going on with people. And of course, Tim's views are not my views, and my views are not Tim's views, and Drago smartly kept quiet.
Over to the theme of the day.
And this is a comedy show. Nothing we say here has anything to do with reality. I mean, I need to get a pop-up, like a banner, one of those things that's just going there all the time to remind people that this is not reality. We're just making comedy here. If it resembles
the reality is, man, if I start dissing on Americans in Russia that I don't even know personally and I'm not really super familiar with, that will become not funny. So I'm going to keep my yap shut on this one.
I'm not expecting you to diss him. I don't really know what
he does,
Yeah, but I'll send you the drone video after we finish recording, and then we'll have a talk about that later. And any drone people out there, leave a comment about that wire. Drago, let's do an article.
Yep.
We need some actual comedy here.
Let's talk about people that we'll never meet in real life. Please, for the love of God.
I don't mind, and you never know. You could always end up meeting them. You never know. After all, like us three between us, between us, we've got like 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon to Trump and like 1 degree to Putin. You know what I mean? So even Vovan and Lexus is like one Kevin Bacon from you, if I'm not mistaken, or you're my Kevin Bacon to Vovan and Lexus.
Well, in the past, this is one of the things, mistakes I've made in my life. In the past, they wanted me to help me out, for me to help them out with some of their pranks and stuff. And this was sort of way before the war. And I was kind of like, well, I don't want to get in trouble. And now at this point, I'm on the American side, my life is over. So if they asked again, I probably would help them with all these pranks against officials and stuff. But I passed on that. That was probably a mistake. The other big mistake I made was there's a Russian comedian named Mikhail Zadornov, and he asked me to do this interesting podcast with him, and I said no because it was complete bullshit. But I should have just done it for the likes and the lulls. But I didn't.
That's the only reason I'm here, for the lulz, man, because I'm definitely not here for the money. Over the last 3 years, I've made, which means I haven't even withdrawn them. People have deposited it into the Patreon and the Buy Me a Coffee. Altogether, grand total, €1,200. You know what I mean? Over 3 years. So I'm definitely not doing this for the money.
You might want to withdraw that soon, because who knows? Maybe Serbia's going to be forced to start using mirror cards.
It's not about the money. It's not about the money, comrade. It's not about the money. If it was about the money, I'd have quit a long time ago. You know what I mean? In any case, Drago, can we get to an article, please, so we can get some real comedy going here? Russia's latest long-range strikes send a clear message to delusional EU and NATO. What long-range strikes are we talking about? Is this the Iskander 2000 that we talked about like 7 months ago, and then like military channels picked up on it like 2 months ago or something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be these Iskander 1000, but we don't know that because the Russian military is keeping quiet on that. Also, the word latest in this case is pretty relative because this was like written a month ago, or even over a month ago, actually. So what I did is I collected all the videos, that were recent at the time of the Russian Iskander M systems, specifically launching the 9M723 hypersonic missiles at various targets across Ukraine, including another hotel with, the war safari tourists who thought that, they're going to have it easy. And I also compared, the Iskander to the ATACMS. We have very, relevant information on the successfulness or the success of the ATACMS versus the Iskander. So for those people who don't know, it was confirmed that the U.S. Sent at least 450 ATACMS missiles to the Ukrainians, which is up to 15% of the entire U.S. military supply, because it was around 3,500 were made in the U.S. And they were in the stockpiles. So all of these 450 were sent to the Ukrainians, and now it seems they don't have them anymore. And we've seen maybe a dozen. Let's say 20. Let's be generous to the Ukrainians to say there were 20 videos of ATACMS striking Russian positions. So that's 20 out of 450, and the rest, is gone. So we have no idea where those missiles are, whether they've been shot down or destroyed, whatever. However, the Ukrainians themselves said that the 9M723, the Iskander missile, has 96%, or actually 4.21% of the missiles that were fired by the Russians were shot down by the Ukrainians. This is like an exaggeration as far as I'm concerned, because, they're also saying that they've shot down like a third of all Kinzhals and 25% of all Zircon missiles. So that's obviously an exaggeration, but let's say this is true. Let's say they shot down 4% of these Russian Iskanders. That means that the Russian Iskanders, even according to the Ukrainian military, are actually reaching 96% of targets. Yeah. So can you imagine if somebody told you, oh, you're going against the military whose mediocre missile hits its target 96% of the time, So let's see how that goes.
Well, yeah, that's I don't know, man. Then it also goes to the extent is for the lulls or for the paycheck, will the European politicians march some kind of certain countries' armies to death? I know the politicians in Brussels, they want Poland to be next. But Poland seems to be resistant. Germany, I think they're slave-like enough. Maybe the Germans will march off to their deaths. I don't know.
They got to go through Poland, and we all know how that went last time.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is like, dude, Poland is weird because on the one hand, all their politicians really seem to be kind of like Russophobic quacks, but they actually deep down know that if the West dies, they might be able to take over the West and become the West. Basically, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like that weird thing that's happening now with like really wimpy guys. They're like, well, if you can't get a girlfriend, become the girlfriend. And it's kind of like, if you can't get the respect of the West, just become the West because it committed suicide. That's kind of what Poland is doing.
That was my "what the hell are you saying" face. I've never heard that expression or that.
Oh, you've never heard that? Oh, no. Look into the darkest videos you can find on YouTube.
I don't want to do that. No, thank you.
All right.
I'm busy working here. That's what I use YouTube for. Anyway, I wanted to get your guys' take on Trump's tariffs and like how the crypto coin market is like dying and like everything else, billionaires are like losing money and so on and so forth. But I wanted to draw attention also to this article sent in, or this blurb of news sent in by somebody in chat. I can't remember who it was, but thank you. I have it written down, but I can't see it right now. Important update from Zastava Arms USA. Because of Liberation Day, blah, blah, 37% duty starting from April 9th, blah, blah, 20% on U.S. goods, blah, blah, 74 blah, blah. Figure. Huh?
That was your echo.
Oh, okay. Was that from you or from Drago?
It couldn't have been from me, man. My microphone does not pick up background noises at all.
Ooh, I used to be employed, and now I still have the microphone that I bought then. Is that what that was?
Yeah. That's $500 ever spent, man.
I know. There's a couple of purchases like that I did for this setup that I'm enjoying now. That is really they were good investments. Like a $200 HDMI cable, but it's like it's 10 meters long.
Fuck political comedy. What really makes money is being the official voice of videos about the MMA. And then Fyodor Emelianenko beat him to death with a right hook. Israel Adesanya kicked him in the face. Like that's where the money is. Talking about Putin doesn't get anything.
Keep going, and then you can like cut it out as a soundbite and then send it to like the MMA people.
Oh, man, I already do a bunch of stuff with the MMA. The only good nightmare is when we have to talk about Brazilians and Thai people, not because they're bad, but because their names are very hard to pronounce. Because Brazilians, like our Portuguese spelling is baffling. And in Thailand, they have a lot of like, Thupatong Thinglangdong. That's, that's the first name.
Whoops.
Very, very difficult. Thinglangdong, Thinglangdong. And then you have to say that in the middle of a sentence. And Thinglangdong smacked him across the face.
What can I say? I just want to remind everybody, in case you forgot, where is this? This channel is not eligible for monetization, nor has it ever been. So
because I just made fun of the names of Thai people. I like Thai people, but your names are hard to pronounce, bro.
I made fun of lots of things before you got here, so don't worry about it. It's not due to you that I'm demonetized. I'm pretty sure. I think it's like the collection of people that I have on might have something to do with it, and the topics that we make jokes about seem to get on the nerves of people. I don't know why. Also, we don't accept sandwiches or USAID here. We being the royal we, as in me, myself, and I. You can find me on Working Brother. Patreon, and you can also find me on Buy Me a Coffee if you want to support what I do. No pressure.
You don't accept sandwiches. Is this some sort of anti-Americanism? What the fuck is that?
No, it's because here in Serbia, like everybody who has a narrative which isn't the bot foreigner, like let's do a color revolution and support these students who want to like do a transitional government, they say that you're with Vučić. So anybody who thinks for themselves is a supporter of the government, and the supporters of the government at their rallies and whatever, he hands out sandwiches. So they call them the sandwich people here.
Team Sandwich, I say.
Yeah, so basically I'm not supported by sandwiches, I'm not supported by USAID, but you can buy me a coffee if you so choose. So,
well, hey, your vice president, Mr. Vulin, was on Russian television recently in person.
Yes, he was. Drago, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, he's one of the. I think he's the president of the Commission for Cooperation with BRICS, and he's also the first vice president of the Serbian government, or at least he was before the new government. Not sure what his function is going to be in the new one, but yeah, his task is essentially to cooperate with BRICS, specifically with Russia, China, and these other countries that are important for the multipolar world.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the scene? There we go. All right, and I think we've got another article here, if I can get it. Oh, Macron, or Micron, as what's his name? Medvedev called him. How viable is Micron's nuclear umbrella proposal? Do you want to tell us what you wrote about here, Drago?
Very important, guys. Do you think that Medvedev really should be talking about someone being small?
Yes.
I think that's a bad
Medvedev should make all the jokes and all the memes, because every meme and every joke he makes, we take with great importance and pride. And we're so grateful for every meme that he submitted this year. And Medvedev, if you're watching, because now we know that you're only 3 people away from us now, through Tim, and probably Vova and Alexis, and probably maybe even Drago and his connections. But in any case,
I've had some people who are really important write me certain messages. So to my shock, despite the fact that I never get 10,000 views on anything related to politics, important people do, or at least a few important people do watch what I do, which is interesting, terrifying, and I don't know what to do with it. But probably not.
I average maybe 400 or 500 views on most of the videos, maybe, and that's being extremely generous. The point is, of those 400, listen, of those 400, there's at least 200 or 150 that I'm pretty sure are agencies and the producers and people who are checking what stories to keep an update on. So hi guys, also leave a comment if you want to tell me which usernames
who's
you're
also
using.
From agencies is listening. If Trump made me some sort of special ombudsman with Russia, that'd be amazing. He should do that.
Hey,
I would love it. He just
I wanted
Tim,
to talk about that,
solve the problem. Only you. I'm okay, Mr. Trump, I'll do whatever you say.
I wanted to talk about that with you, but we weren't prepared, or I wasn't, at least for this one. When
would I work for Mr. Trump to make peace with Russia?
Wait, man. Let me get my point across.
Okay, I'm listening.
Napolitano and Escobar and whatever else group of people was there. They were there, and you were basically their fixer when you were there. I wanted to do.
Found them prostitutes? No, I wasn't able to. All the hoes were busy.
So they asked, huh?
Well, I don't know, dude. I've played too much Cyberpunk. Whenever
you're implying that they asked. You're implying that they asked. No, but you were there. They're go-to guy.
Nefarious that I'm Judge Napolitano's fixer. I'm not his fixer. I would say that I was more of a sort of concierge or security guard or something, or rent a friend.
Man,
although actually,
concierge or security guard are 2 different names for fixer. When you go to a new country and you don't have a fixer, you ask the concierge for exactly what those things that you mentioned were, and others. But in any case,
man, some important people are hey, these important American VIPs are coming to Russia. We know you. We know you're a legit guy. How about you kind of help out, show people around, make sure everything gets done? I was okay, then let's do this. For peace, brother. Rock and roll.
Yeah, and I was gonna show the pictures that you have on your channel and a few other things, and get you to tell us some behind the scenes stuff, but maybe we can do that another time, or maybe you can give us the brief version.
Well, there's a certain bit of super behind the scenes stuff I can't tell you, but there's a lot of superficial stuff I can.
Yeah, go on.
If you want something real short, Judge Napolitano and Larry Johnson are the people they say they are. They act exactly in real life, off camera, on camera, same thing. Which for me is I've noticed in life is key. If someone is really different off camera, that means they're always kind of a shithead, or there's something wrong with them, or they're treacherous. People who sort of act the same way, more or less. no matter what's happening, are people that I like having in my life, and they're both that kind of person. Also, Mario Nawal, who's I believe more of a business blogger, who's super famous, was there too.
Okay, well, you're losing. Oh, you mentioned too many names. I hope we're not gonna lose you. Where is? Panic mode. Panic mode. If I go to blackout, that means he left. If I go to blackout, that means he left. Drago, you're still with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. We're like 49 minutes in. I'm gonna play the music. I'm gonna call this an episode, and we're gonna do an emergency quit here. Rage quit. Thank you, everyone who stayed to the end. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time.